What's up, guys? It's Wednesday, December 14th, and this is Newswave. So there's a lot of news going on today, guys. I want to jump right in real quick with a story that caught my eye earlier. It's not really video game related, it is technology related. It's on eBay. Somebody actually has an iPhone, original iPhone, 8 gig model, and they put it up on eBay. It's sealed, and they're asking $20,000 for it. I'll show you guys here. I actually grabbed a screenshot of it before it ran out. I doubt it's sold. As far as I could tell, it didn't sell. But it's interesting to see that somebody either resealed one, which is completely possible. I mean, it's very easy to shrink wrap those things, or they actually legitimately found one that's sealed. That's a pretty old piece of tech. It's kind of a collector's thing at this point. I don't know if I would pay 20 grand. I don't think you guys would pay 20 grand. I'm sure there's somebody in the world as a collector that would. It's just really funny to see an 8 gig iPhone that really isn't worth much outside of being sealed is for some reason worth 20 grand sealed. Again, I don't think it's sold. It probably just ran out of time and didn't move at all. Maybe if they moved it down to something like $4,000, it would probably sell, just because to somebody who just has the money to throw around. But it's pretty funny. Like I said, I'll leave the picture up here for you guys to see. The link's probably gone because they don't have it up anymore, but you can probably go on eBay and search it and be under unsold. And the next bit of news comes from our good friends over at Ubisoft. Remember we talked about them before, where they were getting bought out by Vivendi over time? Well, they came out and told gamers that their new game coming up, For Honor, is going to be online always, like always online. Even though it's a single-player game, it's going to be showing up as a DRM game where you have to be signed into the internet for it to work. And what really has the gamer community mad right now is that Ubisoft told us before it would not be an always online game. Now, I expressed my being okay with Mario Run being always online, because with a cell phone it's a lot easier to be online at all times, since if you're connected to a cell tower, it technically is connected to the internet, because it doesn't need a lot of data to transfer. Even on a 3G connection, you're fine. It's sending a kilobytes of data back and forth, just saying, yes, I own this game, and it's authenticating on the server. It gets different though with a PS4 and an Xbox One, because you need a broadband connection. People who try to run these things off of their hotspots, it just does not work well. And you certainly can't hook it up to a dial-up connection, and there are times where people's internet goes out. It happens. It happened to me the other day where Comcast went down for 2 hours. If I had For Honor, I wouldn't be able to play it for 2 hours despite me spending $60 on it. Now, Steam is pretty good about this, because it has that authentication thing where you check in every so many weeks or something like that. You check in and you're good for so long. If they did that, that would make more sense. I'm not really sure why it has to be online at all times when they kind of are going back on what they said. It seems weird. The gamers are definitely not happy about this, and I'll see in the future, see if they patch it out or do something to fix that. I understand you have to be online if you want to play online. That makes sense. If it's a game like The Division, you have to have online. We all get that because it's basically an MMO. But a single-player game having to always be online is weird, especially if it's a game console that can't always be online. Like I said, it's not a cell phone where you're connected to the towers at all time. There's a chance that your landline goes down. You're just not in an area. Like, let's say you're out in North Dakota or South Dakota and the internet's just terrible. It's always down, or it's a very slow dial-up connection. You're kind of in trouble at that point. You bought a game, you can't play it despite it being a single-player game. So I hope they get rid of that practice. I hope that is not the case, but we'll see. It's coming out next year. We'll see what happens. So you guys know I like to talk about some of the offbeat news, some pretty cool things that happen, especially with the retro gaming world. I like to try to make that a big part of the show. And what's really cool is someone's actually come out and said that they are making a fighting game based around the SNK type fighting style, King of Fighters kind of. It's called Unholy Knight, and you'll see here, there's a couple pictures here. And it's really cool. It was shown off at a retro vintage gaming expo in Hong Kong. And it's, like I said, it's going to be kind of like think of like a King of Fighters 98, 2001, somewhere in there. And it's going to be on a Super Nintendo cartridge. It's actually going to be a fairly large cartridge. It's going to be a 32 megabyte cartridge. Most Super Nintendo games range anywhere from 8 to 32, and then there's outliers that are bigger than that. 64, Star Ocean got up to 96 megabits, I think, and it just goes up from there. So this is a pretty big cartridge. 32 megabytes, it looks like it's megabytes. I figured it should be megabits, but megabytes. So that's a pretty big cartridge. This should technically, if it's megabits, it should be 4 megabytes. but they're not saying. It just says 32 MB, which could be megabytes. That's a big game. That's a really big game, and they don't know when it's coming out. They say it's planned to be released in February 2017, but games like these where they're smaller tend to get pushed back, especially if they're actually putting them on cartridges that you can order. So I'm looking forward to that. I love these retro game releases, especially since like Pierre Solar came out on the Genesis. It was a really cool RPG. I really like these retro releases. It's very cool. I hope they keep doing them. Fighting game is a nice offbeat thing to do. Maybe we get something like another RPG down the road as well if more companies start doing this. So this is pretty funny. Apparently Microsoft actually sent Hideo Kojima an Xbox One S with Minecraft as like a holiday gift. I feel like that's one of those things where they're like, hey, don't forget about us. We know you're working on Death Stranding for the PS4, but don't forget about us. Now, companies like to do this to try to build like relationships with content creators, especially people like Hideo Kojima, who makes really, really unique games. We'll say that. If you don't like Metal Gear Solid, you have to admit it was a unique game at the time. And Death Stranding, it's not your game. You have to admit though, it's catching people's attention, and it's different. So of course, companies are going to want to come out and say, hey, again, you're working on Death Stranding, that's fine, but don't forget about us. Maybe after you're done there, you want to come over to Microsoft and make a game for the Xbox. Well, Naughty Dog actually sent Hideo Kojima a little care package too of just a bunch of cool Uncharted items, and I think at this point people are just trying to plant the seeds. Different companies, I doubt they're just sending it to him just to be nice. A lot of companies do this to try to help recruit people or plant seeds for the future, build like a working relationship with a company. But it's just funny to see Microsoft send Kojima an Xbox One S with Minecraft, the Minecraft bundle, again, just for fun to try to, I guess, plant the seed. But it's funny to see. I'll leave the link up here in the description so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It's to an article that was pretty funny, but you never know. I'm sure other companies will send them stuff too for Christmas. And what's being described as an act of desperation by a lot of gamers, or just a reaction to poor sales, Activision has actually taken Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, all three phases, the zombies, the multiplayer, the single-player campaign, and they're giving it basically to gamers for free for about 5 days, starting Thursday, so that's tomorrow. You'll actually be able to download it for free on the PC, the PS4, the Xbox One, and you can just start playing it. Now, it seems weird that they would do this, because Call of Duty has always been their big franchise, the one that has always sold. However, a lot of gamers are not happy with Activision based on this game. Just the future aspect of it, I don't think a lot of people like. I think they were really, really mad, I guess you'd say, about Call of Duty Remastered being a bundle rather than a separate purchase. I feel like soon you'll see that maybe happen. Maybe it'll show up on the store as a separate purchase. And I think a lot of gamers turned sour to them for that. So, of course, they're taking the whole game. Five days of just free play. You can just download it and try it out. And I guess they're hoping that you like it and you kind of get over the fact that bandwagon people obviously jumped on. Maybe they jump off the bandwagon after actually playing the game, because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who, wanted to basically trash the game without ever trying it. It happens a lot. And maybe they try it out and they're like, oh, this game's not bad. Maybe I'll buy it now. So a lot of people say it's a reaction to poor sales. I agree. It certainly is. They would not be giving this game away for free for 5 days if it sold like gangbusters, but it's 51% sales down from Black Ops 3, so they have to figure something out, and I guess a free week of Call of Duty is it. So we'll see what happens. Maybe that helps sales a little bit before Christmas time. I assume that's why it's now, so that they can try it out before Christmas, but we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated on sales, though, just in case anything kind of goes up from here. We'll see. And guys, in previous episodes, I've talked about Yooka-Laylee as being one of my most anticipated games for next year, just because I was such a big fan of Banjo-Kazooie on the N64. Mostly Kazooie. I played Tooie as well, but I had so many fond memories of Banjo-Kazooie. Of course, if you don't know anything about Yooka-Laylee, it is essentially the spiritual successor to the first Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie series. Not Nuts and Bolts. Don't even think about that. The first two. This is the spiritual successor. It's going to have very much so the same platforming elements. I assume it's going to have the same kind of like jigsaw collection. Not jigsaws, obviously, puzzles, but different things you collect. And it looks very good. They've been talking about it being on like the PC, the PS4, the Xbox One, and up until now, the Wii U. Well, today we actually had a few things happen. We had the Wii U version get canceled. And, well, I'm sorry, this was yesterday. The Wii U version got canceled, but in its place, they are developing for the Switch. And in a previous episode, I was talking about it, and I was like, man, I really hope it comes to the Switch, if not anything other than the portability factor, because I'm going to get it on the PC. I'm going to play it like crazy on the PC, but it would be nice to also have it on the go. I mean, it's a perfect game for the Switch. It's a really good platformer. It looks good. It looks fun, and I would like to have that ability to play it on the go if I needed to. Now, they also gave us a date, April 11th, 2017. So, of course, a month or so after the Switch releases, we will have Yooka-Laylee to play. I don't know if there will be a physical copy for the Switch, only because it's a cartridge versus a disc. I assume there will be, just because it's more marketing material in the store. I hope it's just not just a download. I really want to get an actual physical cartridge of it, because I'm going to end up downloading it on Steam anyway. So I would really like to get a cartridge, but I'll keep you guys updated on that aspect. However, we're looking April 11th, and it's going to be on the PC, the PS4, the Xbox One, and at this time, the Switch. So I am excited. And guys, if you're excited for Final Fantasy VII, the remastered or the reimagining of the game that they're coming out with on the PS4, you're going to like this a lot. They're actually coming out with figures. You'll see these here now. I think there's Barrett, and I think there's Cloud right now. And these are actually created by Play Arts Kai. It's an action figure line, and it's actually really good. They look great. I mean, they look really good. If you see these pictures here, they are very high quality. They stand almost a foot tall, 11.6 inches actually, and it's just super detailed and everything. And these are scheduled for May 2017 to be released. Again, I did see a Barrett, and I saw a Cloud version. The Cloud version actually stands 10.75 inches tall. Of course, it's supposed to be a little smaller than Barrett if you actually go by their size in the game. And he does have his ridiculously large Buster Sword, of course, which is, I think, his size. So he's holding a sword that is as tall as him, which makes sense. That's just how it was in the game. Both of them are scheduled for... Okay, Barrett is May 2017. Cloud is April 2017. And I didn't see anything on price. Oh, wait, okay. So we have the price here, too. The price is $125, or 14,800 yen. That's at retail, and they'll have pre-orders soon. They'll be available soon on import sites. I would think places like Play Asia, stuff like that, probably will have them. Or you may have to go on Amazon to pre-order it. But they look really cool. And I'm hoping that they do something maybe where they do like a Sephiroth or a Squall Lionheart, something like that. We'll keep an eye out, though. But these are really cool looking. Check them out if you get a chance. And if you're looking to get them, I would pre-order them now, because they will have to probably ship them from overseas. Could take a while to get them. Also, alongside Yooka-Laylee today, we actually got another Switch game that has been announced. And this is good for a couple reasons. One, it was originally a PS4 exclusive. So this was a game that was originally only designed to be for the PS4. They were going to have it as an exclusive, release it to, I guess, help sales along for indie games. However, this game, it's called Rime, has now been rated for the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Switch. So it's coming to all of those, also coming to the PC. But it's now gone from the PS4's studio, exclusive. It's now getting to all the systems. And it was really cool to see them basically include the Switch in there, because now we have yet another game for the Switch. It's interesting to see these games start to kind of slowly trickle out. A lot of these games want to go to the Switch. It's not like they're complaining about it. They're not saying, oh, now we got to go to the Switch instead of the Wii U. It seems like a lot of these companies are embracing the Switch and making the change from the Wii U. Now, of course, I can understand, because the Wii U is kind of dead at this point, as much as I hate to say it, because I like the system. But the install base is not very big. It looks like a lot of these developers see the Switch as having a big install base. I think they want to get into it because to them it looks like it could be a handheld market device. And it, of course, will sell big in Japan. I think we all know this. Japan is a mobile market. So, of course, these developers want to get games on this system, because then it will become big in Japan. It'll probably become big over in the United States. I think it'll probably be okay in Europe. I think it'll be really big in Japan and United States, though. And I think a lot of these places really want to jump to the Switch for launch day. But I'm not sure when this game is coming out. It just says it's a vague release date of 2017, which can be anytime. But basically, this game's like an adventure-style game. It's like a young boy who's lost in a landscape of crumbling former civilization inhabited by huge wild beasts, is what the description says for it. It is a cel-shaded game, so it should probably run okay on the Switch, only because It's not going to push any of the systems very hard, probably. Cell shading is cool because it's an art style that can get away without having to use all of the crazy pixels and bloom effects and everything you would have to do with more realistic looking games. But look to 2017 for Rime. It looks good. It's another action. It's another adventure game. I really like those kind of games on the Switch because it's a portable system that will really benefit from that. So keep an eye out for that next year. And guys, we finally had an actual piece of promotional material that's come out basically from Nintendo that has told us the exact time and the date for that presentation. Now, we already knew it was going to be January 13th in Japan. It was kind of hard for a lot of people. I think that's why they brought this out, to convert to United States time, Eastern, Pacific. And what we have here now, it's going to be January 12th, 8 p.m. Pacific, or 11 p.m. Eastern time. Now, for me, that'll be kind of a late event. I'm on the East Coast, so I'll be up at 11. Doing that, what I wanted to do, guys, was I wanted to do like a live stream where we kind of watch it together if we could. What I'm going to attempt to do is do a full live stream starting at like 10:45 or so. We'll try to get into the room early, and we can kind of wait, and I'll try to do it on YouTube so you guys can see it, and we'll just kind of watch it together and talk about it. I'll kind of, in this kind of setup here, I can kind of be on my laptop and talk to you guys about it at the same time, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to do. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. I'll probably let you guys know a couple days beforehand. When we get into January after the holidays, about doing a live stream. And like I said, I think it'll be a lot of fun. So, but I'm excited. 11 o'clock isn't that bad. It'll probably be an hour long, so it'll probably be finished up around midnight. But I'm excited. I'm sure you guys are too. So much information I want to know. And we'll know soon enough. They even have a countdown clock going, so I'm excited. I'm sure you guys are too. And the last bit of news comes from AMD today. They pretty much completely impressed everyone at their New Horizons event today, where they showed off their new CPU line, and then they also showed off, anyway, a Vega GPU that was basically, it's targeted towards being as strong as the GTX 1080 from NVIDIA's side. Now, these CPUs, if you don't know, AMD and Intel always fight over CPUs, obviously, but Intel always seems to have the edge on AMD there, and then NVIDIA always seems to have the edge over ATI with their video cards for things like power and performance. Well, today I have to give it to AMD. They came out swinging, and they really showed Intel that they need to get on their game. I think Intel's been kind of lazy recently, and I think this is probably going to be the kick in the butt that they need to really get going. But what they did was they came out on the stage and they kind of showed a lot of performance comparisons between their newest line that was originally called Zen, and now they pretty much have it at Ryzen now. It's called Ryzen. It looks interesting though. The biggest thing was it seems to match. Basically, it matches Intel's stronger i7, like a 6900, for example. It seems to match that, but with far less power draw. Instead of like 140 watt power draw on the Intel side, this thing was only pulling 95 watts. And it's an 8-core, 16-thread CPU sitting at 3.4 gigahertz clock. They say there's going to be a turbo frequency, but they have not come out with that or said it works even yet, but it seemed to match the Intel one and even beat it in a lot of different scenarios. What's interesting, though, is they kept hawking on that price. They kept saying price on Intel is like $1,100, and they kept bringing that up over and over again. And what everyone's assuming is this CPU is going to come out and it's going to be cheaper, probably a couple $100 cheaper, and that's their top of the line one. Of course, there will be ones below that aren't as powerful, but are still kind of pricey, but not obscenely pricey like some of Intel stuff. So a lot of people are excited because the competition is just going to give us better items, better CPUs, better pricing. It's a very exciting time to be a consumer because of the choices we're going to get soon. So look to that. And then they also showed Battlefront, the VR mode Battlefront that they put out, the Rogue One Battlefront, and then it also had a tech demo of it where someone was playing it at 4K. It was playing 4K 60 frames a second with their new Vega card that they did not talk about at all. They just showed a tech demo of them playing it, and it was running 4K. It was capped at 60 frames. It never dipped below that, which means it was probably more than 60 frames, probably upper 60s if it never fell below that line. And it played perfectly. It was completely smooth, and the GTX 1080 seems to push that same benchmark scenario that they were playing around 70 or so frames. So this Vega card, which is rumored to be the RX 490, may be comparable to the GTX 1080 at a cheaper price point. And of course, it was paired with their new Ryzen CPU, and they were just showing it off completely, and it ran perfect. So look for Intel and NVIDIA to kind of respond here as we get more info about the video card and the CPUs, especially with availability. They said it's coming out quarter 2017, and the price is still to be determined. So we'll see from here, guys. I want to do a whole thing talking about this event because it was really cool, so I might do that this weekend. But very excited about the AMD making a comeback here. It's very neat to see. So keep an eye out on that for pricing and availability next quarter 1 2017. And guys, that's going to do it for Newswave today. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter as well. It's at SpawnWave Media. I always tweet about different things going on during the day, maybe ideas for shows and everything. And if there's anything that comes up, you can also catch what's going on there if there's like a scheduling issue or something with any of the shows. Or, like I said, I like to do random one-offs or just fun ideas. So you can actually send me a message on there and I'll respond to you. But again, it's at SpawnWave Media. And guys, we will see you next time.